here in Great Falls, Montana, and I've got my new car, 1963 Chrysler Newport, factory stick shift. This is the third stick shift 63 Newport that I've owned. I spent the day getting the car loaded up, and now I'm on my way to the motel that I got for tonight. And tomorrow we're gonna see about getting down the highway, headed back to North Carolina. Well, that was a short preview of the full-length video. So I'm currently working on that. I do this by myself, so it takes a lot of time to go through the footage, compile it, edit it, and make it into one long video. It's going to be another long one. Viewers have said that's what they prefer, so that's what I'm going with. Doesn't matter to me. I enjoy kind of just making the videos anyway, so a long one's fine. As you saw, that essentially this video is Montana to Carolina, so about 2,400 miles, I believe it was, of driving, and all that in a 1963 Chrysler Newport. I didn't really take anything going out there because it was just in a rental car that I had packed full with everything that I thought I could need on this trip, tools, some extra parts. I brought wheels and tires just because the ones on the car were very old and ancient and flat spotted, so those needed to be replaced. That was the only weak link of the car, was the tires that were on it. So that was no problem. Brought some with me and basically had a very enjoyable trip. I drove this car without any issues. It was like the first time I ever got an old car and drove it across the country and didn't have to do any work. Now, I guess the caveat to that is I didn't actually make it all the way home behind the wheel. It's actually the first time that ever happened. I've always made it home. This time I was 15 minutes from home, and then I think I spun a bearing in the engine. You know, things started happening. I got off the road as quick as possible, but too late. Stuck in a Taco Bell parking lot, which, whatever. I was close enough. I just had got my truck and trailer and hauled the car the rest of the way home, which I'm not going to complain. That's still pretty good to drive a car from 1963, 2,400-ish miles all the way across the country. And this car, from the son of the original owner, I bought it from the son of the original owner. He told me this car was 166,000 miles when I bought it, which I have no reason to doubt him. His father took meticulous care of this car. He took all these notes, have all these papers where he was figuring out stuff like the miles per gallon that the car got in each gear with different ratios. And he was very smart and particular guy, it looks like, and he really did all he could to maintain this Chrysler. And they took it on a lot of long trips as a family. And the son of the original owner, he was there when his dad got the car. Like, they went to the dealership, looked at the cars, and got this one. So it's been in his family for a long time, literally since 1963. And really the only thing wrong with this car was the driver's seat is just very worn out. Like, the springs are, you know, not that great, and the foam is bad, but that's to be expected on a car that has this many miles on it. But Otherwise, the car ran great. Only burnt a quart of oil in 2,400 miles, which is like crazy. Like, that's really good with a car that's got this many miles and this old. Because frankly, most of these old cars, they burn a little oil. That's just kind of how it is, especially if they got a lot of miles on them. But this car, I didn't have to do anything. I just drove it. I didn't have to worry about, am I going to make it to the next stop? I didn't worry about, where's a parts house? How can I get to a parts house? Like, really didn't have any issues. I just drove the car, enjoyed myself, and everything worked up until it didn't. But I was only 15 minutes from home, so I'm not going to complain too much. So in the full length video, you'll get the entire trip, essentially Montana to North Carolina. And the majority of it is in South Dakota, just because there was a lot to see there. And mainly because once I got out of South Dakota, I didn't have a whole lot of time. I needed to be back home. So I kind of blasted through Iowa, Indiana, Kentucky, and all that, which, you know, it is what it is. You just got to get home sometimes. I don't have unlimited time and money to do these trips. And the main reason I did these trips in the early days, and kind of still today, was the fact that I couldn't afford to have these cars hauled back. It's just way more expensive. It's cheaper for me to go out, whether I drive out or fly out, and drive the car home, even with the fuel costs, food, lodging, and the rental car to get out there and all that. It still comes out cheaper than if I had hired somebody to haul the car back. In most cases, it's always cheaper. So that's why I originally was doing it, because that's the only way I could afford to get these cars home from across the country. And it was a lot of fun. So the more I did it, the more I liked it. And here we are, you know, over a decade later, still doing it. And it's always fun. So if you haven't checked out the other trips, I've taken quite a few recently this summer, so there's a couple. I'll post links to those in the description. And this trip, like I said, is heavily focused on mostly South Dakota, but I did do a couple other things on the way through, like in Iowa and Kentucky and places like that. So there's some neat stuff. Be sure to check that out. And it's more of like roadside attractions, vintage stuff, things kind of related to, you know, old cars and days of yesteryear and all that. So be sure to stay tuned for the full length video. It's going to be a long one. Viewers have said they prefer the long ones, so that's what I'm doing. And I will have future videos on this car, kind of showcase what this car is and everything, the history and all that, as well as the work to it. I'm going to have to go through the car's engine, figure out what happened, do a little investigating, and then fix it, and then get this car back on the road, because it's a lot of fun. What drew me to this car, not only because of the history, it's still in the original family. I even got old color slides. I brought my scanner with me and scanned them. So I have some copies of the car doing a few things back in the day with the family. It's a cheap model. It's a Chrysler Newport. And the cool part is it's another stick shift Chrysler. So these are super rare. And this is another one, and had to have it. You know, it's my kind of car. Plain, dogdish caps, manual transmission. This is just the kind of cars I really like, the oddball cars that, you know, you don't see a whole lot of anymore, but frankly back in the day you saw way more of. But you know, these stick shift cars were exceptionally rare, but I had to have it, so that's why it's here. It's not going anywhere. This is definitely a keeper. Super nice shape. I got all the history. Can't wait to get this thing fixed and back driving, because it's a blast. But anyways, if you like this preview, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to check out my Instagram for the kind of more the day-to-day activities at Obsolete Automotive, as well as Facebook discussion group and my Patreon. I will post links to those in this video description, so you can check those out if you want. Anyways, stay tuned for more content on this car and others. And if you liked it, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. Anyways, stay tuned and catch you on the next one.